What's going on, man? What's happening? So today I want to talk about voltage difference. Now, if you guys have seen any type of battery, you will know batteries are labeled based off their voltage, right? But that's actually a very common misconception. Batteries aren't labeled off their voltage; they're labeled off their voltage difference. Now, specifically the voltage difference between the negative and positive terminals. Now, just because there's 12 volts doesn't mean there's specifically only 12 volts flowing through this circuit. Now, as we can see, we have a positive and a negative terminal, correct? Now, in order for electricity to flow ever, there has to be a voltage difference. If the negative terminal was just 12 volts and the positive terminal was just 12 volts, there would be no electricity flowing. That would be impossible. So, in order for electricity to flow, there literally has to be a voltage difference. If they're the same voltage, meaning they don't have a difference, doesn't matter if that voltage is zero. If like the negative terminal and the positive terminal are both 0 volts, or if the negative terminal and the positive terminal are both a million volts. It doesn't matter. Electricity will not flow. Now, let's look at it like this. Now, so if that is the case, and we know there's a voltage difference here, what are the voltages on the negative terminal and the positive terminal? Now, on the negative terminal, right, there is a voltage of 0 volts, right? There's a voltage of 0 volts on this negative terminal, right? And on the positive terminal, there's a voltage of 12 volts. Now, some of you may be asking, well, how exactly does that work then? And I'm about to tell you right now. So, there's two types of ways for electricity to flow. The standard way, which is taught in most schools, is that the positive, the current or the electricity flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. That's what's conventionally taught in schools, right? And that's called conventional current. Now, in reality, what's happening actually, reality is the electricity is flowing from the negative terminal to the positive terminal, right? And that's called electron flow. This is what's happening in reality, but in schools they teach you positive and negative. I'm going to be teaching you guys electron flow because that's just what I use personally. I use electron flow, but I mean, obviously, there's more resources you can find about conventional current if that's what you're into. But I'm going to be teaching you guys electron flow. So as I was saying, some of you guys may be questioning like, well, if there's 0 volts here and there's 12 volts here, I mean, what's working on the wire? Well, I'm about to explain it to you. Now, based on which flow you're using, so I'm gonna use electron flow first, just to explain it to you real quick. Right? Actually, I'll use conventional current flow first. All right. So throughout this whole entire wire, there is 12 volts, right? That's what's happening. Throughout this whole entire wire, there's 12 volts. But as you hit this negative terminal, there's going to be 0 volts. And that's basically what's happening. So like throughout this whole entire wire, there's 12 volts, and then here you're going to hit zero. That's basically what's happening with conventional current. Now, in electron flow, throughout this whole entire wire, it is 0 volts. But then as it hits this positive terminal, there's going to be 12 volts, right? Now, I will say this. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening for sure, but that's how I personally envision what's happening in the wires of the of an electrical circuit. Now, take that with you however you will, but like I said, that's how I view it. But that's the important thing here to get here is the voltage difference, right? Now, this isn't a video you are going to have to constantly rewatch over and over again because I'm going to be bringing up voltage difference like as we're doing circuits. So you're not going to have to worry about that because I'm going to remind you a lot because voltage difference is very important